Hey everybody, what's up? My name's Mackenzie.
And I'm Jonathan.
We are husband and wife, and we'd like to welcome you to TerreDice, where we love to play games and talk about them.
And today we're going to be talking about T-Witches. This is the brand new game by Manny Vega, the same duo artist-designer who made Flamecraft. And they're back with a very witchy game just in time for the
I was about
October
to say,
season.
this is going to be so awesome if you get a chance to play this during the Halloween season. So go ahead, get out your broomsticks, hop on board, and let's fly into this review.
We have T-Witches, and I've actually got it right here in front of me, which I'd love to just show you very briefly. Now, this is a game all about, basically, you have this little tea shop that you're bringing to the Tequinox Fair for this 4-day extravaganza. We got events like Broomstock. We've got Witchella.
So many puns.
Oh my gosh.
So many tea puns.
There are so many puns in this game. It made my little dad heart so proud. But basically, it is, at its heart, it is a worker placement game with some really funky stuff. What I love personally is positional things mattering quite a bit. And we're basically trying to serve all of our witches from our deck along with these celebrities that we're going to go serve, and really just trying to get the most points from creating all this loyalty amongst our patrons.
Loyalty?
Loyalty, yes. So let's talk more about that. So basically we have...
what a great opportunity.
I know, it's so... very funny. So we have our tea shop in front of us, and we have these little teapups, which are little magical teacups, which we will send around this magical fountain. Now we'll send them to spaces, and each of those spaces will either let you take actions or they'll let you get toppings. Now when I take actions, those actions are going to be one of three basic things. You're either going to rotate the fountain, you're going to fill with a tea, or maybe I'd rotate it this way, and I can refill with a tea. When I refill, the tea that was in my teacup comes out, this tea goes in, and this one gets stored somewhere on my board. Now, we're going to eventually be buying pieces, we're set up mid-game here, where I might have a generator that lets me duplicate and gain more tea. I guess I'm watering it down, I'm not a very good business owner. But it lets me do all sorts of fun things. Now, you also are going to get toppings. Now, the interesting thing about tea is once it's in these heavy jugs, you can't move it, but toppings you can kind of shift around as you're trying to make space. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to serve witches. The very first thing you're going to do at the beginning of the game is you're going to draw out some number of cards. Now, the one thing you're trying to not do is bust. If you get hexed, that means you have two witches from the same coven who come in at the same time. You're going to have to discard everything that's not protected by a hex ward.
Yes.
So you're eventually, basically when I'm drawing these out, I'm going to be gaining bonuses. And you don't want those bonuses
but you can stop at any time you want. So if you feel like you don't want to break, it's like gambling. If you're like, okay, I'm okay with what I have, you can stop.
Yeah. Now the interesting thing is the basic witches are basically going to be very attainable. They're like, okay, cool, I can serve them. There's no penalty if I don't serve them. But you're also missing out on some opportunities to get more points, which you can get from, for instance, serving celebrities. So we can go out and serve these lovely people who give you tons of extra points. They give you more loyalty, which is the stuff up here. They also give you money, which you can use to spend to buy more things for your shop. Now, really interesting thing about the teapups. So while the teapups are out, these teapups are basically like an infinite supply of that one resource. So if I need yellow, I have one yellow just because my teapup is here, and I never have to pour it out, which is kind of interesting because you'll eventually put out a second one. By the third day, you'll get to put out a third one. You'll have lots of tea that you'll be generating, and you'll want to start creating, a little bit of an engine for yourself where you're wanting certain kinds of tea more frequently. Same goes for some of these special tiles that lets you say, hey, any tea you put in here is worth, it counts as an orange or it counts as whatever you put in there. So we have a couple other actions around the board. I think most notably, there's some powers you can get. There's some special hex wards that you get bonuses when you protect your witches. You get this discount shop for everything that doesn't get bought. And then you get to-go orders. Now, to-go orders are super interesting because these are basically, hey, if at any point in time we have pink and yellow in the same space, I can go ahead and complete this order. Now you can do that on anybody's turn, so you're constantly paying attention for board state so that you can score extra points. Now anybody's teapups who contribute to that, they're going to be gaining things as well. So kind of like a interesting, like, pay attention even when it's not your turn kind of thing, which while it's like sort of added on, I think it certainly makes for a really good puzzle.
I think it's just another, like you said, just another good use of the board. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. So we do that over 4 days, kind of just giving you an idea for what you would do in the game. Now, an interesting thing about loyal witches, so we talked about how you can push your luck and you can draw the cards out. Once you've served them, they become loyal. You'll continue to get the opportunity to serve them every round of the game. Now, if you don't serve them, they go back to your discard pile, but if you have them in your loyal pile at the end of the game, that's where you're going to score some big points.
AKA, you probably want to serve them.
Yeah. So that's Tea Witches. So
Yeah.
What'd you think about it?
Well, first off, it is very pretty.
Pretty.
Okay,
Very
yes,
funny.
I might have been sitting here thinking about all the tea puns I can in the back of my head.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's more. I mean, there's specialties.
There's specialties.
It's
I'm
crazy.
going to come up with more, but yeah, so this game, I was very intrigued with it, and I think a lot of people are intrigued with it just by the theme. It's a very fun, cute theme. You own like a tea witch tea shop, and you're serving your customers out to other witches, and
Yep.
it's just very attractable in like I think the board game space and like people that like to play this sort of game. But I was very pleasantly happy with how well the gameplay I think matches that. It
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
like I think like it really does. I don't know if I thought it was going to be as hard as it is, or maybe it matches perfectly what you want it to be. Like
Yep.
it just does a really great job balance of like using the mechanics with the theme. It's so big mechanic in a lot of games, like I think the Civilization games, it's like you have to feed your people to like move on to the next round, and you have to feed them, and there's just these little meeples. That is like the same idea here with like feeding your loyal customers to be able to keep them. So like, but in this game I was so much more motivated to keep those customers because it made sense. Like I am the owner of the shop. I'm trying to
Your shop
feed
depends
them.
on it.
Yeah, I need to do this, and so to me, usually when I forget, I'm like, oh, I have to feed my people. This one, I'm like, oh, I have to feed my customers. I need to keep them.
Wait, that's actually so interesting because like when you think about like those farming games, it's like, oh, go feed yourself, go find a piece of bread or something. But like when it's a store, you're like, I gotta keep my customers. I gotta
That's what I feel like. I don't care about them when it's like you have to feed your population. They don't have. I'm like, I don't care if you die. I don't care. But the problem is I'd always forget. And so, but this one, and everyone always forgets. I see everyone's like, oh, I don't have enough to feed my people. But this one, I feel like I was really trying to build my engine around.
That's a really good point.
That.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I would say like other than that, lots of fun, interesting things to you really want to come up with a style of play. I got some pretty unlucky turns in one of our games where I got hexed every time. I got busted. I like didn't barely draw any of my own basic witches, but I took the opportunity to then go score points other ways. So getting celebrities, like going and getting good generators and things that were letting me score points in my tea shop. So you certainly can still succeed. It's just you're going to have to change your strategy based on how the luck element of the summoning phase plans out. So I was pleasantly surprised that I felt like it thematically, like I could still do interesting things that, kind of like when we play Scythe and it feels like a bad farming game when we don't have conflict. I didn't feel like there was a style of play here that didn't fit the tea shop theme.
No, it was really interesting choices to be made in this game. There was lots of things to think about, and it was, while you could plan out your turn somewhat, there was also a chance that like each turn you might have to adjust it a little, like with this rotating board. And for the fact that, so a lot of times you will get 3 actions, but it counts as an action to rotate this board to where you are.
Yeah.
So if I go here, you have it on the camera. Yeah. If I go here and let's say I just wanted yellow, then that would not count as one of my actions to rotate the board. It would just count as an action to bring this into my teacup. But let's say I wanted like green, that would count as an action to turn that. So I think it's interesting because when you're doing like these to-go orders, you might choose to like, let's say, what's a good example? You might choose to go to a spot where you already,
Yeah, like maybe let's say I had brown here.
yeah,
And then you wanted orange here,
yeah,
maybe. So you go here, you rotate to give yourself orange, but at the same time you got brown purple here
yeah,
now.
yeah.
So you've done that thing while
So
getting something else.
so it's a really interesting combo. So you might change like what type of teas that you're getting, and then that's why I think the to-go orders do come in interesting, because it's not about the tea you have on your board; it's about the tea that's available on the main board. And also, each of these sections are going. I really felt like some games maybe I would use a section more than another one, but I didn't feel like any of them were weaker than the other ones. Probably I personally didn't go to the Howl Warehouse that much, but maybe I should have.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think? Do you feel like they were all equally
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, this
powerful?
is basically just anything that didn't get bought goes
Yeah.
down there. So I definitely bought from there too. I think you score some big points from those. I have like a 15 pointer on my board right now from the last game we played. In a game where you only score 100 points or so. So you can definitely get sizable points from those pieces too. I wanted to take a second to talk about balance actually, because that was one thing
I
that
was going to
remembering
ask
through
you
there.
about that. So I've only gotten to play this as a 2-player several times now, but you've gotten to play it as more multiplayer games. How did it differ with like the available actions or stuff like that?
Yeah. I would say like I would say it's mostly pretty good, but there were some glaring instances of like balance felt off. And I'll talk about like where those specifically are. So like for instance, just right off the back at the beginning of the game, like when you draw these cards out, you have these things called familiars, which are basically just these cutesy animals who give you toppings. And you would have some people who would draw every single familiar before they draw any witches, and that means they're like really safe to like any sort of busting, and it means they were generally going to get more stuff. Now that only affects the first round of the game, but if you have a strong start to the game, it can affect the game overall. There were other kind of instances. This one particular tile that I want to share really briefly, this, rather than taking an action, lets you pay 1 coin to rotate the fountain. Now, 1 coin ends up not being a whole lot. Like, we were drowning in coins. I think we had 20 or 30 by the time the game ended. It's also worth 2 points. This felt very strong. And in every game we played, the player who had this one tile ended up winning. Because I don't think that was why they won, but like it does give you a lot of flexibility, because if you only get 2 actions, you can for free do that before you spend your 2 actions to get T, which, because T can be multiplied in your space, where if I put it there, it generates 3 more. Like, you would just get so much more out of your turn if you like didn't have to rotate the fountain and could get exactly what action you wanted. So I guess, no problem having this tile, but maybe it should be 2 coins, maybe it should be 1 point, not 2 points. There's things like that where it just felt a little bit strong. There were also a couple cards like this one right here. So this specialty card says gain double the reward when serving 1 witch. It costs 2 coins to buy. It gives you 2 coins, essentially, or 2 loyalty, which is compared to something like take 3 extra actions for the same price. That's like a pretty big difference in terms of how strong those things are. So that was things that we like noticed when we were kind of going through.
I almost wish, again, this you can't change the design, but like you could pick one and then you could discard one. I think that might eliminate. I don't know, or maybe that would just make it.
Just to add more player interaction.
Maybe. Yep. But so that's the balance and stuff. But I really enjoyed it too.
Yeah, me too.
I thought it worked
I enjoyed
really
it
well.
at 3 as well.
Okay, so let's talk about with some graphic design things that we are just pointing out. And some of the just like confusion, maybe if you're playing this, maybe this will help you along the way. But it's just something to point out. I would say a big thing was, you can speak more on this, but like the banners, like where the rewards, what rewards are you getting?
Okay, so like I said before, gain double the reward. This is like one of those cases where you gain rewards. So if you look at 3 different types of cards, so there are things that you get when you summon. There are things that you get when you serve. There are things that you get when you summon, I guess. Yeah, basically, like as you're putting them out. They're in a bunch of different colors and a bunch of different places. But essentially, if it has a brown border around it, we figured out. So like here's brown, here's brown border, sort of like brown flag around it, those would all be rewards. So I would get, double that. I'd get plus 2 coins. Here I have these rewards. There's plus this stuff. This is a different color brown. So what I can't figure out is, are these two the only reward and this is the only thing I get when I serve? Or like, it's just kind of unclear what the rewards are. I wish that was a little bit more clear, but we basically took it to mean this whole banner, this guy, this whole banner, basically. But that was like one thing. You also mentioned, like, as you're serving all your witches, you like to have them stacked out, and the celebrities have their cost on the bottom.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they did that.
You were doing more like this kind of thing.
I mean, I think they did.
They have different back already.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was kind of another thing, was like, oh, I can't see my cost unless I really kind of splay out my cards. The last one was like, just from a rule book perspective, there were several rules that we felt were important, but like were a little bit unclear where they were put. So for instance, when you get to the end of this loyalty track, you like get the +1 of these like basically tickets that you can use to flip over and keep a witch loyal without getting its reward. But then it says, then continue on from the beginning. But that was like, for some reason, so hard for me to find in the rule book of like how you reset that track. And there were kind of just a couple other little things like that were a little bit unclear.
Yeah. So I think the big thing, also I know the thing that you wanted to point out, I didn't get to play with the upgraded tokens, but you wanted to speak on that.
Oh, yeah. We're going to put a little video right here so you can see them. So they gave us the cutest little, and this was provided by the op, so like they gave us the stuff, but they gave us these cutest little bits, these little wooden topping tokens. These. Oh my gosh, those are adorable. I love those. But they also gave us these like acrylic beads to replace the T tokens. They had some major usability issues. So they, in my opinion, are completely unusable. You go into a dark room or like, board game cafe setup or something, impossible to tell the difference between some of those colors. We'll put like a video here. But also, they don't have any sort of iconography on them, and these do. So as you're generating them, like, it's just so much more helpful to see that you're definitely matching the right color to the right color. Just because the color choice is pretty questionable for making them look very different.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was a major concern. So I would not use the acrylic beads under any
like the problem is they made
circumstance.
them transparent. I think they just made which I think they were trying to get the effect of tea, obviously.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was coming across. I think it would have been better just to do like solid colored beads if you're not. But I like the cardboard.
I think this especially bothers me because they're hawking the upgrade kit like majorly. It's like, get the upgrade kit. You don't have all the pieces. It's on the back of the thing. Here's the tea. Here's the upgrade kit. Upgrade kit only. Buy it here. So it's like they're kind of really pressuring people to buy what I believe is a flawed product. So that's concerning.
Yeah. So I think those are our critiques on the game. But I would say overall, the gameplay itself, I really enjoyed. I like the mechanics. I like how the theme is integrated into the mechanics, and I just had a lot of fun playing this. I like games where I am like I can build out my engine and be like, oh, if you only have like 2 actions, but you can do 2 like move like worker placement, but you feel like you can do so much with it, which I always really enjoy. And I think this is just going to be great for the Halloween season, but also I would see us just pulling it out all the time to play.
Oh, yeah.
But with that being said, also noting that there are going to be we have some critiques with the graphic design and just those upgraded components. What if you get the regular game, you don't get the upgraded components? You don't have to worry about that. Yeah. Would you have any other thoughts? But overall, it's like my thoughts.
No,
Does the base game come with this money and like the nice cardboard?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's literally just these tokens.
Yeah, and I would like to point out again, this is by the op, and so like some people may not know or haven't been in may not be as up to date on what the op has been putting out. They're traditionally known for like their Monopoly, like their Telestration, stuff like that. But they said when we spoke to them, they're like, we do the Monopoly and the Telestrations, which do help provide the board game industry, but they do that so they can make the funds to put their money into these beautiful tabletop sophisticated games, and I personally love that. And I
Well,
think
probably to also be a profitable company, but
well, yes, but they said that the only reason they can do that
Yeah.
they can make these games
Is because of
it's
Monopoly
because of
and stuff.
Monopoly.
Yep.
Which like kudos to them. They find a product that works well for the mass market, so that they can make these beautiful games for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so kudos to the op, and like love the stuff that they're coming out. If you didn't check out. Last year, their big game was Gnome Hollow, and I also really like
that one's really cute too.
Stock Exchange, and we have Fountains on the back, which we haven't got a chance to play yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, any other thoughts on this?
No, I'm really happy with this. This is a very good production. Honestly, if you like witches, you like this theme, you'll love this game. I think it's fun.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much to the op for providing us a copy of this game. No, their monetary value was exchanged, but we do appreciate the game so that we can play it to be able to tell you guys our thoughts on it and to see if it's right fit for you, your friends, and your family. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Happy playing.